I have to give God the glory first, understand that I'm praying for his discernment and where he's taking me. My plans may be one thing, but we all know that his plans come with the purpose and the ultimate purpose of kingdom building.
So, what have been your keys to success over 23 years? Over 23 years of practicing law, what have been your keys to success?
Prayer and understanding that it's not about me, that without God I can do nothing. It keeps me level, it keeps me grounded. Having a strong sense of family and support of family. Anything that I've ever set my mind to do, I've always had a strong backing of family, a strong understanding of I have to give God the glory first, understand that I'm praying for his discernment and where he's taking me. My plans may be one thing, but we all know that his plans come with the purpose and the ultimate purpose of kingdom building. And when I get off track, or if I think maybe I should go left, or maybe I should go right, I'm always coming back to the center. God, where would you have me to be? What would you like me to be? Where are you taking me in this decision?
So that said, that brings us to your third HBCU and your other calling in life, which is ministry. You went to Shaw University to pursue a master's in divinity. Mm-hmm. So just explain how that calling happened. How did you get there? I
think any preacher will tell you, we run before you settle and say, okay, yes, Lord. And for years, I heard, someone said, well, you got the calling on your life, or God has called you to the ministry. And, as an attorney or pursuing the law, I said, but when you say yes and you yield to his will, it all just opens up. And when I was attending a church in Henderson, North Carolina, passed the bar, all of my clients coming out of the church at that time really pushed the ministry for domestic violence as well. It opened up the door for me to also have the ministry for domestic violence advocacy as well. And so I would say in 2007, when I became licensed and then subsequently ordained in 2014, it's been a journey. It's been a learning journey to how you're supposed to blend the purpose and the plan with the ministry that God has for you, also maintaining a balance of being a professional in the legal realm, also being a mom, being a sister, being a caretaker, all of those things. It all comes back to God give me the strength to go through, God give me the strength and mercy and grace to do what you would have me to do.
Okay, so you got involved in ministry. I won't necessarily say pursued it, but it pursued me. Okay.
It pursued me, exactly.
And as you said, one of the things that God used to pull you along was ministry and domestic violence. Talk to me about your heart for those who have been met with domestic violence and why you pursue that so hard.
One of the experiences as being raised in a domestic violence home, it never leaves you. And as an attorney, being approached by people in the church who are hurting and not knowing how to handle it on a spiritual level. Let me just break it down for you this way. There were women coming to me saying, I'm hurting, but the pastor said, pray and stay. And that was a repeated pattern for so many cases that, I knew that God does not mean for us to be doormats and to be beat up on. That he ordains marriage, but he does not ordain hurting your spouse. And so having that background of being raised in a domestic violence home with one of my stepfathers, remembering that as a child running out of the house with my shoes on, asking the neighbors for help and they didn't open up the door. All of that came full circle for me when I started getting involved on the legal side of protecting victims and their children. And being a minister in the church, people coming to you in confidence with their hurt, with their pain, it became clear to me that this is an issue in the body, in the church community, that needed to be addressed. And so I'm minding my own business one day, and I get to read 1 Samuel, the 25th chapter, with new eyes. And off leaf the pages of Abigail and Nabal. Their relationship read to me just like a domestic violence situation. You have the power and control. Nabal controlled everything. And then here's Abigail with the countenance of beauty and wisdom. That to me represented a veil, a shield, if you will. And a lot of people come into the church will say, oh, I'm blessed, highly favored, and I'm fine today. But the reality of it is that they're hurting. And behind that veil lies a hurting person. And if you're on the other side of the veil and you don't know what to do with that, you'll say stuff like, but what about the children? Have you thought about the children, what they're going to do if you leave? Well, God hates divorce. Or how we can pick and choose scriptures and beat somebody to death over the head with it. And we don't want to go down to the other part of the scripture that says, but. And I talk about that in the book. And I said, but is a powerful thing when you're reading scripture, because that means something else is coming or that God is up to something. And when you get to that part where it says, but Abigail got off to talk to the men about what was about to happen to her household, she was able to save the household because she got out and talked to David first. So from there, I started doing workshops and incorporated the law and what the law says about domestic violence and what the scripture says about domestic violence. Here comes Abigail's Veil, the book that I've written, because people started asking, where is that in writing? Where is this material that we can use it? And in obedience in 2016, I said, okay, God, I hear you. I sat down, pieces of paper here and there in a pocketbook, and finally pulled together Abigail's Veil, which is a handbook for church members and leadership to understand what domestic violence looks like, what we're supposed to do as Christians, and stop taking scriptures and saying that you're to be humble and submit yourselves to your husbands, and not go down to the bottom and say, but your husband also. And so that's how the Ministry for Domestic Violence Advocacy came about.
And please present.
Oh yeah, and then here's Abigail. She's been on the market since 2016. I use it during the workshops. We go through what the law says, the story about Abigail and her relationship with Nabal. We go through the questions and scenarios at the end of the workshop, the what ifs and what do you say and how do you handle it. If somebody comes to the pool, how we have altar call, and somebody whispers in your ear, I'm being hurt, do you know what to say and what not to say, kind of scenarios, and we go through that. And I tell people at the end of the workshop, if you don't remember anything else I say, remember safety has to be first. Don't come at them with preaching and prayer and all of this, because they're already hurting. They already know. Come with, are you safe first? And every church should have a safety bag ready to go in case people need to escape.